to order. This is the EDC Economic Development Commission meeting taking place via all Zoom on Wednesday, February 19th at 7 p.m. Welcome aboard, everyone. I know we had a lot of back and forth, and I'd like to, we've got a pretty good agenda here, but we can keep things to the hour-long time. One thing that was left over from last time, and we also have Fiona Coughlin, the town planner, with us. So Fiona, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. I hope everybody's been staying safe and warm with the crazy weather we've been having. So I'll just get to it. The big action item that has been left over from our last meeting discussion was the Open Space and Recreation Plan, OSRP, as an action item. We wanted to vote to approve as drafted or approve with the edits as we discussed. But Fiona, maybe you can help us out a bit here.
Madam Chair, just one point of order. My understanding with remote only meetings is that we must do a roll call of the committee to open us up to make sure everyone is here and can hear you, to hear each other.
Oh, okay.
And then we do a roll call for any actual votes.
Yeah, that I understand. I wasn't aware that we needed the roll call for as we open the meeting. Okay, so with that said, I'll start. I'm Laura DiDio, the EDC chairperson. Next person.
Nicole here.
Justin Wood here.
And Craig, we didn't hear you.
Yeah, here.
Okay, so we do have a quorum of 4, and as I said earlier, Fiona Coughlin, who's our town planner, has very graciously agreed to join us. So as the OSRP action item, Fiona, maybe you can just give us a little refresher course here, because this one sort of snuck up on us as you and I have had discussions about, and we discussed this at the last the January meeting.
Yeah.
What is it exactly that the OSRP and the town is looking for from the Economic Development Commission?
Yeah. So yeah, and I apologize for the confusion at the last meeting, and the lack of context. So the Open Space and Recreation Committee, is charged with updating the, status of these action items, in the Open Space and Recreation Plan from 2020, and they're all assigned to different groups. So, every year there's a request for an update from the, from the OSRC to just get a status update, more or less. So I took in the materials that I had sent last time, I took a initial kind of stab at responding on behalf of the EDC, because I do know that John Allen, when he was working for the town, he was working out of my office, and albeit he was very self-sufficient, and I wasn't kind of I was letting him do his thing, but based on my knowledge in the planning department and from what I had discussed with John, I tried to fill this out on behalf of the EDC, and then present to you folks to see if there's anything that you want to change, or nix it entirely, or consider the action item not applicable anymore, or if it is, what would you like me to include, and then I'll just finalize that and send it off to the chair of the Open Space and Rec committees, and be done with it. It's just really more of a, I want the EDC to have an opportunity to include what they would like if they wanted any additional language or had any information about that particular action item. And yeah, so, and I'm just trying to pull up
yeah, there was a lot of things about the rec space at a couple of the fields, and also the train thing. It seemed to be in a holding pattern, essentially. That we were just going to vote on acknowledging that we would, provide whatever support was needed when things started to happen. It didn't seem that there was any great need or,
And
going
it
on
could
at
be
this
that
time.
simple, honestly. If it's something that the EDC wants to continue to be in charge of and work toward, we'll just keep it and we'll keep the status as ongoing and we can go from there. Well, it's whatever you folks want.
Okay, Justin, let's start with you. What do you think about this? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I'm relatively familiar with this. My general take is I think this, what was in our draft from the last meeting aligns with what I think makes sense for remarks. I think though we don't have a direct situation with housing, but the idea of having a some sort of connection, whether it be a trolley, WRTA, whatever, from the higher density housing projects in Grafton to areas that have businesses would be something that would help the businesses get the customers to them. So that would be a benefit for this. I think it still belongs with the EDC as something for us to look at. I don't think we need to be the sole people looking at this, but I think it does make sense for us to continue to have it on our radar. I don't think there's that much we can do about this to move it forward in any way in the short term, but I think it makes sense.
Yep, I agree. Nicole, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Okay. Craig, would you like to weigh in?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have a huge objection to this. I don't understand why we're weighing in on an open space and recreation committee. We have the work of supporting and promoting business in town, so I don't really see us playing a role in this. Certainly don't want to commit to more housing in town. So I guess I'm kind of neutral on this, and I don't really understand our role in this process, but and what the motivation behind that is. Maybe Fiona can talk about that, what the goal is to get EDC to weigh in on some of these things.
Sure, yeah, great. That's a good point. So I think that when the plan was originally drafted, I think the EDC was the assignee at that time, and that's just kind of continued. But if this is something that the EDC, it seems like from most of the comments that they want to be the EDC wants to be involved in moving like an effort like this forward, but not getting involved in any housing related aspects, which is fine. The reason my comment there regarding recent work in the planning department is because there was efforts made, there was some mitigation that was done from recent developments to try and help, extend the Worcester Regional Transit Authority. And they're adding a stop, for example, across the street from the 124 Westboro Road warehousing facility, and there'll be a crosswalk installed there. That's just one example. So I just was kind of pulling things together from things that I had, tangentially related things. But I can change, I really don't, it's really the EDC's preference. And I don't want to do anything that the folks aren't comfortable with. So, I think, yeah, happy to change the remarks too.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I would concur with Craig that we don't want to get involved in housing. If and when the situation arises that we are going forward with developing a town trolley, and there are other business entities that will be weighing in on that, then we could certainly provide, an opinion or indirect support as needed. But I would agree with Justin and Craig that at this point, there's no rationale for direct involvement because most of these things are not happening and we're not involved with the housing units at 8 Pine Street.
Yeah, that one was an enigma to me. I think John did, John Allen had done that one, and I was kind of rolling with that because at the time I thought that was, you know, something that the EDC wanted to be abreast of. So yeah, long story short is I got it. I think I have my marching orders. I'll just reiterate that, you know, the town trolley concept is something that the EDC wants to see and will support in any way they can. And keep it going and remove the references to the housing, and we can
Yeah.
go from there. I think that's all I need, really.
Yeah, okay, fine. So there's nothing then that we really have to vote on, or yes or no, or,
I don't think you need a formal vote. I just wanted to make sure that I understood. So,
Yeah,
but, you know,
well-
obviously it's always good to have a vote.
yeah. No, well, if we're kind of fuzzy, it should be because, well, obviously Justin wasn't on the EDC last year, neither was Craig. Nicole was, Angela was not, so, and Carl was, but we had a big gap. And as you say, John Allen was very self-sufficient, so this was not clearly defined or enunciated and communicated to us, so that when we got your action item for the 2024 report to the town, came out of left field, but okay, so that's good. So I don't want to belabor the point, and I think we now understand where we're all at, unless anybody else has anything that they want to add. We can move on to the next order of business, Fiona, which is you talking about the town planning report. And that includes the 2024 annual report update.
Yep.
Talking about Survey Monkey, conflict of interest training, and solicitation letters. So I'll let you.
So I'll keep it short. I think most of this, and this is all just kind of perfunctory things that committees do. So, the annual report, you know, I listened to the recording at the last meeting. I made the changes that were requested, and I submitted that on behalf of the committee. So it's an easy one. The next thing was the Survey Monkey update. So I think that there was some confusion about that too. So John Allen had, he purchased the Survey Monkey subscription for the business owner survey in 2023, and he did that with ARPA economic development funds, which, you know, I know this committee is obviously involved with that. So I just didn't want to do, you know, I just wanted to make sure that this was something that we either wanted to continue or discontinue, or have it live somewhere else or be the responsibility of somebody else, because the annual it automatically renews. And
It's $495, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I just didn't want to continue, you know, and then obviously the funding for that, like, we need to have a discussion about where that would come from, because the ARPA funds for those types of things, you know, business recruitment and retention strategies like that's been all spent now. So if it's going to be general fund, or if we should just say, you know, do we even can we use the free version, or what have you? So I just wanted this committee to be aware of that this was a thing and just guide me accordingly. And I'm happy to do whatever everyone's comfortable with. I think from the last meeting, from what I recall, is that we just have the TA's office kind of make that executive decision going forward, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, it was my understanding, by the way, that we could spread this out among the different groups, because when we did the survey, the town administrator's office did piggyback off of that and use some of the things. So it's not like the EDC would be the only ones that could make use of this membership. It does make sense for us to not just have the free version, in terms of if we want to do a larger survey of the town, the free version, and I know this because I have Survey Monkey. It's one of the tools that I use for my business. So I have my own account with my company. The free version doesn't give you the option for as many responses, and you don't have all of the tools to slice and dice the data. So $495 I would submit is money well spent, and other town committees could also make use of this. Now, what we'd have to look at is how many seats we get for that. So, perhaps, we might want 2 or 3 seats, but I think the basic membership of $495 is fairly economical for what you get for a year.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think just like from the perspective of where that 495 give or take is coming from, I just that would be a determining factor for users. If it's general fund, then yeah, it'll be shared amongst everybody, and the EDC can obviously still utilize the program, but we'll be sharing it with everyone. So minor change, no biggie. Just wanted to just make sure everybody was okay with that. So that's a big thing.
And I'll just briefly say, I know I said last meeting, and I know, Laura, you disagree with me strongly, but it's still I still want to say it out loud, is that I think for majority of needs I've seen the town use surveys for, doing something even as simple as Google Forms, which is, to my understanding, part of our Google Enterprise account that the town has already, or maybe not an enterprise, but the Google account the town uses, would allow us to do the majority of things we would want with a survey. Now, does it do all the fancy things SurveyMonkey does? No. Is there other tools besides SurveyMonkey that could also meet the needs without being as expensive? Probably. But I don't have a strong opinion against using SurveyMonkey either. Especially if we're going to be sharing it amongst other committees and departments in the town. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the town has moved, no longer using Gmail, it's just Microsoft now, which I think, there's just a comparable option, but yeah, okay, great. That's all I needed to hear. And I'll just work with Evan and William on that. And then the other, the last thing, the conflict of interest training, that's a requirement for volunteer boards and committee members. I'm sure Craig and Justin are well aware of this. Laura probably is too, and Nicole for Affordable Housing Trust. So I think this group in particular is probably already on top of it, but just a reminder, I had Natalia, my assistant planner, send out the link. So if the link to either take the training or get your update if it's your time to do so. I think it renews. I think you have to renew it every couple of years, and then just provide an annual update. So again, just a perfunctory part of being a volunteer, and just something that I thought I'd bring up just to make sure everybody is good, because I know the EDC is going through a restructuring. It's all new folks. Great group of folks here, and everyone's kind of capable, but I just want to administratively make sure we're crossing all the T's and dotting the I's. So and I'm happy to resend out that link if anyone needs it. I think everyone is good.
Yeah, it's always good to send it out, just to err on the side of caution in case somebody's looking for their email, or they purge their email or whatever. So
sure. Yeah.
Terrific.
And then the solicitation letters, that was again an administrative kind of thing. So the EDC charge, I was talking to William, and it was approved in 2022. There's no term limits for anyone, which is just totally fine. I think the process in those instances is there's like a solicitation letter sent out either by the clerk's office or the TA's office every 3 years. So I think just it's more of an update that staff, which particular staff person is to be determined, who will be working on that, but you might see, a request via email with a letter and maybe some follow-up required there. We're trying to get everything kind of on a consistent scheduling, update the website and make sure every, term limits and everything are very clear, and the town clerk's office has all of that, what they need. I did submit, lastly, a certificate of reorganization on behalf of the EDC. It was basically just a list of all the members and their contact information, and the fact that you have indefinite term limits. So now they officially have something on file at the clerks. And that was the last kind of thing that I noticed anyway, that needed to be addressed. Yeah, I think from here on out, probably TA's office are gonna just take control of EDC affairs. But you know, planning is always here to help. You know, we get applications for businesses who are seeking special permits and what have you. So if the EDC ever wants to be involved and work with us on those types of applications, we're here. We have an extra staff person in our office now. So, you know, just kind of putting the offer out there that we're around if you need us. And yeah, I think that's really all I had.
Okay, that's great. By the way, I, just to let everyone know, William Blake in Fiona's office did reach out to me today via email, and I will be meeting with him sometime next week. We're just gonna try and set up a time to meet in person. Just, you know, meet and greet, hey, get to know us. But I think what would be helpful, and I'll send out a follow-up email for those who have not been on this call, to make the most efficient use of everyone's time. What all of us think we might, how we most effectively make use of William. Obviously, we don't have him full-time, but where we each think that he could be helpful, like Nicole, as we go forward on trying to set up the event for May. You know, perhaps he could lend you some support there, et cetera. If anybody has any other ideas, I'm certainly, you know, open to it. William also did ask that he be included on the email, on all of the EDC future email trails. And, you know, I think that's smart. He couldn't make it tonight, but, perhaps he could be on our next meeting as well, and we could hash this out as a group.
One
So-
thing that's in my mind that could be useful for staff to do, since we are getting some staff support, and William could hand it to someone else, so to speak, but having staff write our minutes that we
Yeah,
can vote on.
Angela was doing that.
Yep. Like Angela might say it's it's really easy for her and it's not a problem. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for her, but generally, if staff is helping for 2 minutes, it takes some burden off our volunteer time, basically.
Yeah, well, I was just, by the way, as far as that goes, I was sort of typing in background so I can type up the minutes for this one since Angela is not here. But yeah, so I guess just think about it. And if you have any thoughts in mind, shoot me an email and I will present some of these ideas to William, and then hopefully he can join our March 19th meeting. And I think we just want to streamline the process and be very focused on what he's comfortable in terms of his other duties, what he thinks he could practically do, where we think he could be most effective in helping us. You know, so we have this resource, we should use it. You know,
My one point to that, Laura, about us emailing you ideas, I think if a quorum of 3 members email you with ideas on how to utilize William, to me, that does signal it would be an open meeting violation, because
Okay.
we're discussing the thing. I would suggest emailing probably William directly if we're going to email ahead of the meeting.
yes, well, I can do that. And I'll, as I said, hopefully I'll meet with him sometime in the next week and we can jot some of this stuff down, and ideally William might be available to speak at our, you know, to be on the next, you know, meeting, and we can hash this out as a group.
Okay.
I don't want to be in violation of any rules. So, okay, so that was the
So
the
if-
thought
Sorry,
there.
Laura, not to interrupt. If EDC is all set with me, I'll jump off unless you need anything else.
No, this is good. Thank you for being here.
Sure, yep, no problem. And if you need anything, you know where to find me. So thank you. Jeez. Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm gonna make you the host, Laura, and then
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that.
no, that's okay. That's
I was tempted to say something when you were dropping to sign the host, but I thought that was going to Zoom usually prompts you, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, sorry about that. So Laura, are you all set? I think I made you the
Yes.
host. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Great.
All right,
Thank you.
sorry.
Oh, no
Bye-bye.
problem. I was like looking for the phone to see who I could call.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Anyway, I think the big topic here is see about moving forward with the May event and getting a budget. Craig, have you had a chance at all to talk to Evan about this?
I talked to Evan a while ago about it, so talked about a $2,500 budget. He did not seem to think that that was an issue, so I think we'll be all right with that. I did reach out to the Townhouse Tavern, and I reached out to Reunion Tap and Table. So they both have venues that I think would work. There was a little bit of a price difference there, but nothing you know, insurmountable. I think the Townhouse Tavern wanted like a $250 fee just for staffing. And to open. The Reunion wanted 500, and then I think 250 for staff, and then we'd have to buy food. So we'd have to buy food at both. So Reunion could provide the food, and then I haven't reached out to Bushel and Peck. They're next door. I know they could do some catering. They do catering right out of that. Right out of their business on Worcester Street, right next to the tavern. So I think we could do both of them for, comfortably $1,500. I don't think it'll be any more than that. It'll be a cash bar at both. So I think we'll be fine with either venue. I did talk about parking because there was concerns about that. They do trivia, I believe, on Wednesday nights at Reunion. I know we had talked about it either a Wednesday or a Thursday night, I think, right? So Reunion does trivia one of those nights, so we'd want to stay away from there. And then the other night he thinks would be okay. And there's additional parking down by Grafton Pizza that they have an agreement with them to allow some extra parking. And then the tavern is just parking, all around the common and some parking across the street at the old fire station. So and there's some big events there and people find a place to park. So I don't think that's a problem. So either venue will work. I think we'll be within our budget. We just have to decide what we want to do and where we want to do it and move on it. I'd want to confirm the trivia night again with Sargon, but if we decide to do it at Reunion, but both places are available and willing to host.
So we've narrowed it down to just these two places.
Yeah, I didn't go to Highfields because that I think Nicole had mentioned that it was a pretty steep number up there.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do something different than the pub. We wanted to share the event with, get some people to see some other venues in town, support some other businesses. So that's kind of where I left it. So I think
Okay. Welcome, Sean. Good to see you.
I apologize. I had new hard drive on the computer and I did not realize how long it was going to take to install the Zoom app. Anyway, sorry.
No problem. We're glad you're here. So the other item on the EDC spring events discussion is the flyer advertising, business owners, Chamber of Commerce. What does everybody think about that?
I think we should do it, but I'm not a graphic person at all. I would not be able to make a flyer, but if we get one made up, I'm more than happy to help distribute. We can get some, if business owners are not typically at their establishments, we could also mail it out to them, that kind of thing if we need to.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
last
bored.
year we did like an email distro and then also talked to individual business owners. So probably do the same thing.
Yeah, and
Maybe
we-
the flyer is something that William could work on.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, yeah. I mean, and it doesn't really take, we don't have to get too fancy schmancy with the graphics for the flyer. There are all sorts of templates, you know, that we can do, and we can also work with the TA's office to get the list of invitees, et cetera. We didn't seem to have a problem last January when we did this, so I don't think we'll have an issue this year. Now, last time, I think we discussed doing this the first or second week of May. So as to not be in head-to-head conflicts with school graduations and
Memorial Day, yeah,
Memorial
the
Day, all of
beginning
those
of-
things.
of May would be best bet.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at,
Probably a
Yeah.
Wednesday or Thursday.
yeah, either one of those two nights would work. And if we keep to, so if we looked, so we're either looking at the 7th or 8th of May or the 14th or 15th of May. So I guess the next thing is, and do we want to get a hold of Evan and invite him to speak at our next meeting so we can hash this out? Or Craig, is that something that you want to discuss with him? It looks like that the money is not a huge impediment here.
No, and I'll circle back with Evan one more time, but I think we're gonna be fine. I think it's a good idea to when you talk to Will tomorrow, ask him to, if we give him, you know, the venue, the date, the time, you know, just a short statement about what the event is about. He can certainly put that together, and then they should have a pretty good list of local businesses, and then we can, you know, we had talked about maybe just going door to door, each grabbing 10 or something like that.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Inviting some people and just making a connection with them. So ask Will to do that, and then I can follow up with him in a few days to make sure that he's on board with that. So, and then I can, let me confirm, I guess, let me confirm the day with reunion as far as what day of the week. I guess we gotta decide on a venue.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna
So-
ask that, Greg, do we have the runway, so to speak, between choosing the venues and letting them know for our next meeting to decide then? Or is this something we need to decide roughly now to kind of get that set aside for the venues
Well,
from your
if we-
conversations?
Yeah, if we decide on a date or a week, you know, and whether we're gonna do a Wednesday or Thursday, I can circle back and make sure that those dates, they're open. I think for the tavern, it would have to be a Wednesday. Cause Thursday, they're open to the
Hmm.
public. Right, so I think if we wanted to do it at the tavern, we'd have to do it on a Wednesday, and then let me just, I was looking for my notes. I know I made some notes when I talked to both of them, but I can't find them, so I'd want to circle back with Sargon and see what day he has trivia night and pick another day. So that, you know, that the parking, there was some more parking available. Like I said, I think they're both within our range. I think the reunion is gonna be a little bit more money, but you know, Sargon said if that was a hardship to let him know, and you know, he would help out too, so.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
not to make too fine a point about it, but I would think that they'd want us there. This is the, you know, because it draws people in
Yeah.
too. So
100%.
it's good for their business, either one of them.
Yep, it is.
Now, do they have a room at Reunion? I haven't been there in a
Yes.
while.
Yeah,
They
they
do.
have a separate room. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And they have a bar in that room, so unlike the pub, it'll be nice. There'll be, you won't have to have a runner and we can order food there and
Yeah.
they can, I'm sure, set up an area to
Yeah.
so people can help themselves. And then
Trivia
Uh,
nights every Wednesday at reunion.
what's that, Nicole?
Trivia nights, Wednesdays at reunion.
Okay, so we would have to do it. So it'd be a Wednesday at the tavern or a Thursday at reunion.
Okay,
And just to put my 2 cents on this, I think Reunion is a little bit more attractive to me as a venue for at least this year, where the food will be, right there, and that's, what their business actually does, serve as well. And you don't have to have a runner like you just mentioned, Craig, for that. And so that's my slight preference, but I think both venues are totally valid and will be great choices.
Yeah, I mean, you won't have to have a runner at the tavern because there's one big room there. There's a bar
Yeah.
there.
True. Oh yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah.
and you have Michael Bartashevich's business next door for the food. But either one were, I don't
Yeah.
like, doesn't matter to me. They're
Yeah.
local businesses. I'm good with either one. So
Yeah, when you order Bushel and Peck Catering, they deliver it. So they come
Yeah,
and like set it up
right.
for you and all that good stuff. So
right,
that's
Michael
easy
says,
enough.
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I know that people in the town like both places, so
Yeah.
I don't think either one is, I think both are winners as far as we're, they're both great choices, so whatever anybody decides.
Yeah, I know with Thursday, and I love Sargon too, but Thursday nights at the tavern, parking is, that's probably a busy night for them. Not that either place has great parking, but they're both somewhat limited, I guess. So, but who knows what we're gonna get, right? We had what, about 50 or 60 last year? Is that what you ended up having?
Yeah, I
No,
think so.
did we? I thought it was more than that because people were coming in and out. I mean, so
Yeah,
I think at any given time there were 50 or 60, but we
Mhm.
might have had closer to 80 or 100. Nobody really took attendance, but I know people did stay for a while and seemed to enjoy it, you know. Once we get the venue nailed down, then we should really begin to talk at the next meeting about what we want to do in structuring this, because I think that we spoke about not just doing a meet and greet, but really put something behind it where we can, throw these people in and see how they envision the EDC helping them, how they can help us, etc. So,
yeah. When is our next meeting?
March 19th,
Okay. Oh, so it's a month.
a month from now, yeah. And I think for the next meeting, we can take a vote on this, but we'd want at least a hybrid or, the option of remote. Maybe not all Zoom, just depending upon how the weather's going, because we've had an extraordinary run of weather events, shall we say.
Yeah.
So one thought I just had, I forget if we talked about this last meeting or that was done last year. It might be good to invite a representative from the planning department and even the building department to our night explicitly, to, if they want to hang out, talk to people that might be interested in expanding the business, building it, getting a business in Grafton, etc. To have that as a venue for someone to talk to the town staff in those departments.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, Justin. Also, we might want to invite, somebody like Dave Muradian.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
we should have both him and Mike Moore there. We had
Yep.
them both there last year.
and I'd love it if Jim McGovern could come, if he's in town.
We could send an invite to all three of their offices and
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we could put on the flyer, that picture I took of Nicole, of you and Mike Moore. That would get in. No, great suggestion. Sean, did you want to say something? I know you were.
So I think for tonight, we should try to lean more strongly towards reunion just because of, I think, a little bit the ease of a few of the logistics on this thing. And so we're looking at, you said Thursday night. I guess what I'm trying to say is for now, today, we should just say, all right, this is what we're going to focus on. As I said, reunion Thursday night, be it the 8th or the 15th, whatever would work best at that venue. And then just go forward from there. I think the only way we would not do that is if for some reason reunion has a conflict, then we would have to focus obviously on the tavern. But for right now, so that we can save some time, let's just focus our efforts on going to reunion. And then I know it's not, my only question or concern would be if there are enough tables, not that people do a lot of sitting, but we decide on, say, a menu, because you're not going to be, ordering a burger in an event like this, even though they have good burgers. So we decide what we would like to do, cheese and crackers. I don't know about the wine to go with the cheese, but, is it going to be cheese and crackers, salad, that type of thing. So maybe a few of those things, if we discuss that tonight, get that out of the way so that when Craig does go back to them, at our next meeting, we have a list to say, yes, I like this, or, and just do it, so that we're not talking about this stuff in March and now we're a month later.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Sean. Why don't we, I mean, unless the committee doesn't want me to do this, I'll say I'll make a motion that we do Thursday, May 15th. That'll give us a little bit more time.
Yeah.
With a backup date of the 8th, if reunion is booked with another venue on the 15th. And I can talk to Sargon about a menu and bring it back to the committee. I know they have pizzas there, so there might be something, looking for finger food for folks. And I know he's got a lot of stuff on the menu for that, but we can put together a catering menu that fits our budget, that gives something, for people to snack on.
Yeah, maybe he could even do like some sliders and, since they have burgers, they could do sliders and pizza and some greens.
Yeah, and they had, I mean, we had a pretty good variety at the post office pub,
Mm-hmm.
and that seemed to work well. I mean, they had some of the hot stickers and other things.
So I'll second Craig's motion, and
Thank you.
I was going to make a similar motion. I'll just kind of repeat what I understand you're saying, Craig, just to be clear. The 15th, the Thursday in May, we will engage reunion. You'll spearhead that engagement, so to speak. Talk to Mr. Hanna and his staff, along with the town administrator, to make sure that we have the T's crossed that we need to make this happen. And then come back to us at our next meeting with menu options or even inviting Mr. Hanna or someone to this meeting.
Yep, we'll do the 15th with a backup on the 8th, and then we do, what are we doing? We doing 6 to 8, or what did you, what was last year? What was the time frame, the window?
I think it might have been like 5:30. We might have started it a little earlier because it was in January. And it might have been 5:30. I think it was 5:30 to 8 or 8:30.
All right, so my motion will include 5:30 to 8 o'clock. That's 2.5 hours. That's plenty for folks to come and go, and people that want to come early, if people want to stay.
Okay. 15th with a backup date of May 8th.
Correct. And I'll talk to Sargon tomorrow. I'll try and get a hold of him and see if he can confirm the 15th with us. And when I do, I'll let everybody know that the 15th is a good working date. And that way you can add that to your list with Will for the flyer.
Okay, now, if that goes, then we can invite him to the next meeting. Now, should we invite Evan to this, or are you just gonna go to Evan directly, Craig?
Evan, to what? To the 15th?
Yeah, to the next, I mean, should
For
we
the
invite
budget,
him
I think she
to
means.
speak to the next, to us at the next meeting in terms of the budget, or can you?
Oh, yeah, he's off this week, but I'll certainly talk to him early next week and make sure that we're good to go with that. So I'll confirm that for everybody.
Okay. Yes, Sean?
I don't think that we need to invite Evan to the meeting. I think between now and our next meeting, we will have a budget number
Yes,
or not so much a budget, an amount. And we simply present that to Evan and we get the yes or no on that particular dollar amount. Okay. And then the second point I was going to make, when we look at our list of invitees, other than the politicians and some, I would, as Justin said, some of the other members of other departments or committees, possibly someone from local Chamber of Commerce that might have some, just either just show up just to be there and network with folks, or maybe they can just give a little spiel of some sort
Good
about
idea.
the
Yeah, I
region.
can call Jeannie Hebert. I mean, I'm a member of the Blackstone Valley Chamber, which covers Grafton, and I think I had told the commission, they're willing to, she's willing to play any role we want her to in this event. I think we should keep it in-house as much as we can. We don't want it to be a chamber event. We want it to be a Grafton business event, but I can certainly see if she can come, and if we want anything else, I mean, I'll open it up to the floor, whatever anybody wants,
Yeah.
I just don't want it to become a chamber event, that's all.
Yeah, I agree. I
I
think it's
agree.
good to have her there for, people that have questions about the BVCC, but I don't want it to turn into an event for the chamber.
Okay, I agree as well. So we're at 7:53 PM, so we've got 7 minutes. I will ask, does anybody have any other business that they'd like to do? Oh, did
Yeah.
you want to say something, Justin?
That Mr. Duffin has made a motion about for us to officially vote for him to engage union, as we discussed. And I seconded it. Do we want to vote on it?
Yes, we can. Nicole, do you want to? I,
Dolphin AI.
Would I?
John, I.
okay, that motion passes. Okay, so the last item, does anybody else have any other business that they'd like to discuss right now? Okay, is there anybody that we think we might want to invite to speak at the next meeting?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay,
Other than those that we already discussed, like, to invite as optional, and like if Evan wants to come, I'd still welcome him. I just don't necessarily think he needs to be like an explicit please come. Like Sean said.
well, no, at our
You meant-
January meeting.
You meant like
we-
businesses, right?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we were talking in December and January about having reps from other towns come to speak to us, and I know that Craig had spoken to somebody, but they had to cancel, so I wasn't sure if Craig or anybody else had someone else in mind.
Yeah, I gotta follow up. We're still trying to reschedule that meeting with Craig Blaze, and when I met with him in his office in Worcester, he had mentioned wanting to come in and speak with us. So I can certainly follow up with him to see if he's available for March 19th, right? It's March 19th.
Okay. Mhm.
So let me see if he would be great if we could get him in. He's a wealth of knowledge and incredibly connected. So in the city of Worcester and with the business community. So well, let me call his office and see if that would work for him.
Okay, terrific. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to discuss? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Third. Okay, well, thanks for being here, everyone.